to be at the Gallery of Fine Art.
Correct.
It's called Nostalgia, and his name is Kerry Collins. Kerry, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again also.
How have you been?
Fine.
Yes.
Hard work, but pretty good.
Hard work meaning that you're filling a lot of canvases?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. You know, I think for the majority of us, the type of work that we do would be to go to work in the morning and you have a set task ahead of you and you do it. For an artist, it's different. You have to wait for inspiration. You have to see something that inspires you. How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, generally, if I see something, well, I like outdoors and I like to drive around in the country a lot, so I always work with my digital camera. So anytime I see an image that appeals to me in some way, either in terms of whatever mood it creates within me, I would just take a picture of it, go back to the studio and try and recapture that, the same, what I felt at the time, recapture it in paint, you know. So it based on what I see and whatever moves me, because whatever you paint, you have to feel that passion first, or else it won't be transmitted on the canvas.
Yeah.
So
do you sometimes revisit the place that you took a photograph of? I mean, like to see it, you know, in different lights, either dusk or dawn or whatever?
Yeah, very, very often I would go to the same spot and take several different pictures at different times, because that particular spot may appeal to me in some way. So I would often revisit it and absorb the essence and the sense of the landscape or whatever, and then go back and try and recapture that. So I often make repeat visits.
Recently, I read about a group of artists who were, in fact, trying to get back out there in terms of, they went as a group to the savannah, for example, 7 of them, and these were very well-known artists in Trinidad and Tobago, and then they went to the beach and sat on the actual location.
On spot, okay, yeah.
On spot.
Right. I haven't had much opportunity to do that because I also work. I also work full-time, so hopefully when I retire and I have more time available, I'll do a lot more of it, because that's the essence of Impressionism. We're trying to be on spot and to actually sit there and actually capture the moment.
Yes.
You know.
All right, we have some of your work in the studio, and I understand when you tell me that you like the outdoors, you like to paint scenery and what's happening. So let's look at some of Kerry's work, and you could perhaps tell us something about it.
All right. Now, the theme that I've chosen this year is nostalgia. And nostalgia, well, is a longing to return then, you know, to return to a former past, time, you know, or place, you know. And this particular piece reflects a scene in Trinidad, probably in the 1800s, right? People picking cocoa and actually pulping it, putting it in baskets and putting it on the donkey cart to carry back, you know, to the cocoa houses and so on.
Well, as we open up, one of the things that strikes me about this, just from the amateur's eye, is this beautiful set of color, really in the middle of the painting, and then it's just surrounded by the lush green trees and also the ground, you know, the ground area.
Color is important, to try and capture colors in a way that it is not too raw, but still interesting and exciting. So I try to use a lot of colors, but not to the extent where it becomes too overpowering. So it's kind of like a balance. You have to know what colors to choose to really bring out the effect you want.
But with this, that's a cocoa there, is it?
They're picking cocoa with a rod, a long rod. There's also a scene in the past, you know. So.
But you have done, you've done something here, and I guess this is why it is nostalgia, is that you have put them in clothing that would have been used many years ago at the time.
Right.
Rather than what we would see people in today.
Right.
This is good because, you know, they're reviving the cocoa industry here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
Did you know that? So
no,
these paintings would probably be worth a lot of money now. Okay. Our cocoa is being used by foreign countries, particularly European countries, and producing some of the best chocolate delicacies, and they have recognized that our quality is good.
Okay.
So it's being revived, and money is being poured into the cocoa industry. What do you do? Do you try to satisfy what would be your buying public, or?
Oh no. I don't depend on art to sustain myself or family. So it began as a pastime, as a passion. So I don't necessarily need to sell a painting, to survive or to live, right?
So
And that's an advantage because I could experiment, I could develop my craft, I could spend a lot of time doing research and study, you know, I don't have to depend on a sale to go buy.
Okay.
So I have that luxury of being able to do, you know, almost anything I want in terms of progress and development.
Where is this in the Blanchisseuse area?
This is somewhere in the North Coast.
On the North Coast.
I didn't visit this particular scene. It's a picture I saw on the internet, and somewhere in the North Coast.
I think it's
and I felt it was such a lovely.
I think it's by Yarra, you know. I think it's by Yarra, by the river.
Okay.
There's just this rock sticking
out
out
in the
there.
sea.
Yes, that's always fascinated people because although it's out there and being beaten by the elements, it's still able to bear.
I've never seen it with my eyes, so I must try and revisit it and see.
Yes, you must. I think it is Yarra. I know it's up there on the North Coast. At least you're right.
Yeah,
you're right about that. It's somewhere on the North Coast. And of course, you've managed to capture the water there, which is also known to be a little bit rough. It's much nicer to bathe in the river there than to swim in the sea. This is lovely. And then this you've captured at a particular time of the evening.
Right. Now this house is an old house on the Piaco Road. And if you look closely at it, you'll see the cracks, and it's a tapia house. So again, I'm trying to keep the theme of a longing for the past, a longing for, you know, what was there in the past, you know. And I actually was born and bred in a tapia house, because I remember as a child I used to just go and just dig in as a child, let's dig the dirt and eat it, you know.
Oh no!
So, and you know, when I saw this old house, I say, wow, it just put me right back to when I was living as a little child in that old house, and I just wanted to paint this and, you know, show people, you know, that they're still, because this house still exists.
And I mean, as we look at the house, and I'm hoping we'll stay on it for a little while, as we look at these houses, you know, I'm always fascinated by the detail that although these houses are made out of literally wood, mud and straw, all the little details of the doors and the windows and the jalousies have been placed there. And fascinating too for me is how it stands on these bricks and pillars and the little steps. You've managed. So this house is still standing.
It still exists, right. As soon as you pass the roundabout by Piaco, not too far from the roundabout.
And people live in there? Do you know?
Oh no, it's abandoned. It's abandoned. So there's a house behind it where people live.
But I do hope they leave it. What a beautiful memory.
Well, I have it preserved here, so.
And this is all part of the exhibition. About how many pieces do you have?
I have about 39 pieces. So this is just a small sample of what could be expected at the show.
It's as you say that you have a job, and therefore you're not painting for your bread and butter. You're painting for total enjoyment. Exactly. So really, even though you're having an exhibition, you're not under any particular strain that you have to do a certain amount in order to sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
This particular piece, I did a lot of research before I went into this theme. I went to the library and I did some research to try and see if I could get some pictures of Trinidad and Tobago at that time. And this was a picture I saw in one of the books. It was black and white, however, but it's an actual scene of people selling produce by a corner. And if you look very closely, there's a sign. You wouldn't be able to read it here, but it says Eastern Mino to Arima. So I suspect it's probably somewhere around maybe the Valencia corner at that time, you know, and they used to actually sit there and sell and wait for passers-by to come and buy the produce. Okay.
Street vending has changed a great deal since this painting was done, since the photograph was taken. But certainly it makes us understand that has always been part of our lifestyle and how it was. And the colors too that you have chosen, I can't help but notice it's you've kept them very muted, the tones, so we get that feeling of age.
Right.
Yes? I would almost imagine most of us would want to believe that this was painted 50, 60 years ago rather than very recently. That was done. You thought of that when you were doing it?
Well, in terms of color theory, you have to keep colors basically muted as a rule. That's part of the whole theory of color, and then only highlight those things that you want to pull forward. Then you use your brighter and more intense colors. So it's one of the rules of color. You know, you pick and choose what you want to pull forward, And the background, you use the muted color to put back.
To push it back.
To push it back, yeah, for depth and so on.
And this is how you get your focal points.
Exactly,
yes?
yeah. You tend to, you know a little bit about color theory.
No, I've just done many interviews with artists. This is definitely working. All right. This is
So there's another piece about some people cutting and carting sugarcane again in the past, and it was, although the picture was black and white, it was an opportunity, for me to select various colors that I would have felt, would work. So I use a lot of bright colors for the clothing and so on to pull it forward,
Yeah. And of course, these are scenes that we will never witness again.
No, unfortunately, you won't see cane being cut by hand, and carting and donkey carts like that.
Crossing the road. I remember from my childhood days, passing, driving along it wasn't a highway at the time, just driving along the road, and witnessing this as you went past, and not realizing the importance of this industry because I was too young to even think about it. But forgotten, but certainly kept here in painting. And you say it's about 38 paintings you have altogether?
Yeah, 38, 39, I think, around that figure.
Yeah. Kerry, did you study art? Did you, as a child, you went at school? Did you do art as a subject?
I didn't do it at school, but I did a short course at extramural at UE several years ago. That was about 40 hours, 40 contact hours, We did some work with live models, and we did some color theory and stuff like that. But it was basically an introductory course. So most of what I've learned, I've done on my own in terms of studying books and so on. I also purchased 2 full courses online on the internet, and I went through it. And so that is how I've been gaining most of my advanced knowledge, through my own research and through my own efforts.
So definitely self-taught.
Well, basically, yeah.
So it was very late in life you discovered this talent. I mean, it must have been there.
No, actually, I actually started to paint when I was around 10, 11, around that age, because I used to do a lot of comic book character drawings, and my father would notice that, and he decided to purchase my first set of oil paints. And since then, I've stuck with oils, and I've been practicing slowly at first, It's only when I left school and started to work, then I began to get a little more involved in painting. So it's only really and truly for the last 10 years I've been really doing it prolifically,
And when did you get the courage to take your painting to an art gallery and say, listen, I have work and I would like to have an exhibition? How did that come about?
Well, I had a lot of encouragement from people who saw my work. They used to encourage me to try and take it further, and that gave me a lot of encouragement from my family and friends, because they always used to see my work and encourage me. So that really gave me the boost to go and try and see if I could carry it further, carry it beyond just amateur. And I approached some of the galleries. Initially, they wouldn't, they didn't know who Kerry Collins was, so the majority of cases I was rejected. It's only another artist friend actually who was able to kind of put in a good word for me in one of the galleries, and that's how I was able to start with an art gallery.
Because I know that there are a lot of people out there who have work and just dying to have their work exhibited, but they just can't get that door open for them.
And some of them are very, very talented, but because the gallery doesn't know who they are, they won't give them a chance. A lot of times it's, people have to assist or help or pull a string, as it were, just to give it that opening.
Because you wonder how else will their work be seen.
Exactly.
It's a very difficult way of, it's a very difficult thing to want people to see your work in the galleries, but not exhibit you unless they know who you are.
Exactly.
In a catch-22 situation.
But you need to start somewhere.
Yes.
to become known.
Maybe the fact that they have to work really hard to get into the gallery is enough to give them the impetus to work at it.
And to do better, exactly.
And to do better, because sometimes you look at work, and I am not an expert, and I do remember my dear friend Noel Valcrusen, now deceased, who was the top artist in Trinidad and Tobago, when I told him I wanted to buy some art for my home and I didn't know who to buy, and he said, what do you mean who to buy? You buy what you like.
Correct. That's how it should be.
Yeah, he says you buy what you like.
Because
you don't like
buying
who.
it for you, Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was buying it as an investment, you see.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, that's different. That's different, yeah.
All right. Where do you see yourself going? I mean, you're doing this work now. It's obviously successfully. You're exhibiting, and I'm hoping people are purchasing.
Yeah,
It starts on the 22nd of April.
Right.
And goes right through to May the 3rd, everybody. We'll give you the address of the gallery in a little while. Where do you see yourself going? You want to now start experimenting in different mediums?
Well, not necessarily in different medium, because I'm satisfied with the oil. I feel like from my own particular style, it's the best, because I use the painting knife, which is a tool that you get the best effect with the oils, right? And the oil is also a slower drying medium, so that also is an advantage to some of the techniques that I employ. I need a slow drying medium.
Okay.
So generally, I tend to stick with the oils and continue to experiment with it until I develop, more and more this impressionist style, because this is a style that I believe in.
But yes. Now look, we've found one more painting that I didn't know you brought in.
And that's a hairdresser. Title of this piece, hairdressing. Again, that was a scene that many women would be familiar with, in the old days, if you know the kind of attire they have. So it's also a piece I found in the library as well. I did my own color arrangement with it.
Okay. So really and truly, this is why you can afford to tell us it is genuine nostalgia, because it's pieces from libraries that you have gone and found and put your own color and a little bit of a difference, I suppose. You've put your own...
I would put in my own interpretation of what I see, but I would keep the basic idea, Yeah.
But I love this, look at it. The lady having her hair done and the children, one friend sitting down, little baby sitting down looking. And for hours they would sit and talk and chat.
And I don't see this anymore, and so that's why I wanted to focus on nostalgia, because there's so many things that we did in the past, and that we're supposed to remember it and cherish it, because they really represent something very innocent and very warm and cultural about our life, and we shouldn't lose it. We should try and retain it as much as we could.
And thanks to people like you, we are able to. He has recaptured exactly what it's all about, and you can go to the exhibition, look, and hopefully purchase. It's at the gallery at Fine Art, the new paintings by Kerry Collins, who's been our guest today, and the exhibition runs from the 22nd until Saturday, the 3rd of May. And for those of you who are wondering where this Gallery of Fine Art is, it's the corner of Warren Street, O'Connor, Rosalino, and Warren Streets. No, the corner of, you see, that's trying to read without my glasses. The corner of Rosalino and Warren Street, that's where for you to go. The telephone number is 628-4669, 628-4669, should you decide that you want to find out more about the artist or about the exhibition. Thank you very much, Kerry. Have a lovely day. Today's Friday, it's a weekend, so enjoy the weekend. We're just going to take a break right now, but as usual, the invitation, stay with us here on NCC TV. I've got more to come on My Time, 10 to 12 with Allyson.